Hey you guys, it's Monica and welcome back. So today we're going to be making a Halloween tumbler. So we're going to be doing a V-split type tumbler, and I am using a Steel Magnolia 32 ounce plump. This is my first time using this cup. I have used their 24 ounce plump in another video. So this is my first time even pulling out the box 32 ounce plump. And I did get the pre-prep ones. They're hard to catch them in stock, and so I just bought the pre-prep ones because that was what was in stock. So that's what I got. And so really quickly, I want to show you guys that my lid was faulty, unfortunately. I like to keep it real with y'all. I'm not going to sit up here and big up any company just because, they do not pay me to speak for them. I'm not a paid representative. So yeah, unfortunately, the lid for this one was broken. There was a little piece broken off. I thought I could just snap it back in to get it. It seemed like it has tracks. But I couldn't. Like I said, there was that little piece that I showed you that was broken. So unfortunately, this lid was a complete scrap. And so I did have 3 of these tumblers, so I was able to pull the lid from another tumbler, but now I have a tumbler without a lid. So yeah, that's that. But I just wanted to share this with you guys because I started to film and all this happened. So might as well show you in case something like this happens to you. And you can see in the background, I had one on their website because I'm what is going on? I don't know. It just seemed like it was really hard to slide, and that's just their design. It is what it is. Let's move on. And so this is Halloween vinyl that I got from Expressions Vinyl. Love their vinyl. It's really high quality. And I made myself a little template for the V-split. I figured this would probably be the best way instead of me trying to cut it in a square or a rectangle and then eyeball it. I'm let's try to make this as easy for me as possible because I be struggling. So give myself the tools that I need to be successful. And so once I was satisfied that that's what I wanted, and I literally just took a piece of paper, folded it in a triangle, and then evened out the triangle because it's 8 by 11.5. So you got to cut off technically I think it's the extra quarter of an inch about ish that you have to make it even-ish. And so I'm just cutting this out of the vinyl. And I almost messed this up big time too because I wanted the pattern to be right side up. So you can only cut it really from one side or the other. So that's just something to keep in mind with the V-splits with the patterns. They got to face a certain way that, they don't have patterns that can go any kind of way. So, because this was a tumbler that almost wasn't, at least with this vinyl. And so here I am back struggling. I appreciate all the comments in my last vinyl video. And everybody's do the hinge method, do this, do that. And it's girl, I just got to get it on here. And so what I did was I completely took it off the backing to loosen it up so it's not still really good adhered to the backing. So I went ahead and I took it off the backing, put it back on the backing just ever so lightly. And now I'm using just my little vinyl tool, and I'll leave a link to it below. It's $3-4 on Amazon. To work it down and work out those bubbles and just take my time. And I found that pulling it off the backing, putting it back on just ever so slightly and taking my time and working it was the best way for me. And that's ended up working best for me. Don't get me wrong. It still took me 20 minutes because my camera's about to cut off and I had to cut it back on and I didn't realize it right away. So it looks like there's a little skip and jump because, y'all know I be struggling, but I eventually did get it and that's how I got it. And then the last thing that I do that I don't show you is that I stand the cup upright just because the angle you can't really see, but I stand the cup upright in order to just cut off the extra vinyl at the top. And I always think it's best leave a little bit, 1/8 of an inch around the top. That way you can cut it off in case you do it a little crooked like I do. Because my 1/8 of an inch wasn't the 1/8 of an inch all the way around, okay? You can see it's a little higher on one side, a little lower on the other. But it all reaches the top of the tumbler, and then you can just take your X-Acto knife. And when I tell you a sharp X-Acto knife cleans up that top rim so beautifully, and you will have no issues, I promise. So yeah, everything's smooth, and like I said, you can see the different heights from one end to the other, but I was able to clean it all up. All right, so now that we got the hard part out the way, let's get to the fun part, which is the glitter. So I'm going to be using 4 different glitters. This is the color Candy Corn. It's a beautiful orange iridescent color. And then I'm going to be using 3 chunky holographics. And so this is Cauldron, Clueless, and Black to the Future. 3 chunky mixed hollows. And I'm going to go ahead and do the taping. I know y'all, for the people that watch my videos, Y'all gonna be like, she always struggling when it comes to taping, because I sit down and I just try to be creative. And sometimes I don't always think things through. And so I'm going to show y'all like me just putting on like 2 pieces of tape. And then I realized that I was trying to make a stripe. So I needed like a 3rd piece of tape because I needed the area where the stripe was going to be. I be doing the most. It is what it is. But the end of the day, y'all would never know if I only ever showed the finished product that I'd be struggling. So in my mind, like right now, I'm making these 2 stripes. I'm like, cool, the 2nd stripe is going to be like, I'm blocking off the cow. I can have a clean edge from my first against the stripe. And now, boom, I'm ready to make the stripe. I said, wait a minute. That's not right. And so I went in, so you don't have to watch me do this 3 times. I went ahead and did a 3rd stripe so I can create that area between the vinyl and where it's going to be my ombre to have the candy corn glitter stripe on the cup. And you don't have to do like the extra stripe, but I was trying to give a little pizzazz. Y'all know I be trying to fit in as many glitters as I can because I'm extra like that. Because why not? We only live once. Use all the glitters you got. So yeah, so now I'm just going in and peeling out that vinyl that tape so I can have my stripe. And so using the Mod Podge method for my glitter, since we have a white cup, I decided to mix a little acrylic paint with my Mod Podge in order to give it, a little bit of opacity on the background. So I'm just using some random orange from Michael's that I just have in my craft room. Nothing special about it. It's like the 59-cent acrylic paint. And so again, optional. It's just up to your personal preference. How opaque do you want it to look against your cup? So I really wanted mine like bolder, so hence adding the orange. And so I'm just going to glitter that in. This was the easiest part because I got really obsessive about my ombre, but I'll talk about that in a minute. And so while that's still wet, go ahead and peel it off. Keeps your line really crisp and really clean, and you don't have to worry about pulling on the glitter and potentially lifting it up and messing up your shape. And I'm also going to show you guys why I feel like this is the concept I was talking about. So right now you see I'm pulling off the tape and I accidentally pulled off the vinyl too. It's an easy fix, just separating the 2. But that's also that is the same reason why I pulled the vinyl off of the backing to put it on the cup, because it's trying to release that super tight bond that it has. And so I had just pushed the tape down that's just a matter of pushing the tape down a little too hard and creating too good of a seal against the tape and the vinyl. And so when I went to go pull it, now they think they're one because they're conjoined because I pressed them together so hard and it pulled off. So when I did put the V-stripe vinyl on the cup, same concept. That's why I went ahead and pulled it off the backing to kind of break that tight seal that it's had since that's where it was living, so that I can get it on there good and a little easier for myself. So now I'm using that same Mod Podge. I'm doing all this back to back. There was no waiting in between. And I'm going to go ahead and do my ombre. And so and when it's kind of like a pattern like this, just make your Mod Podge just a little bit thicker to give yourself some time to work. That way it doesn't dry up on you and you have dry spots. And so just doing a little ombre. That's it, y'all. None special, none fancy. Full disclosure, I did go and do a 2nd layer of glitter because, what y'all are going to see is that you're going to see me finish the ombre and then you're going to see me jump straight to quick coat. When I was quick coating it after the first layer, I looked at it and I was like, more. It needs more. I want it to have more. It's got to have more. So this is, which is one layer of all the glitters. And I'm going in and I'm knocking it off. And my whole intention at this point was to quick coat it. But then I was like, I see a few spaces. And you're probably like, girl, where? Up close and personal, y'all got to take my word for it. There was some spaces in that thing. And so, yeah, so I went back and I did another layer of glitter because I'm a psychopath and that's just how I roll. So this is the Counterculture DIY Quick Coat. Great to use. Oh my goodness, y'all, real quick, because y'all one track mind. Have y'all ever used wax paper or freezer paper to lay your glitter flat? I did with this cup, and that stuff is wonderful. To just roll the cup on there. If you have an ombre you don't want to touch each other, I don't suggest that. But if you're doing a one color ombre, or just like a one color chunky cup, that method is amazing. The girls on the internet be on this stuff. So if you ever need to lay your glitter flat prior to like quick coating or epoxying, highly suggest you just roll that thing in wax paper. I ain't got no freezer paper because freezer paper is like $8 a box, but we got $1 Dollar Tree wax paper over here in this household. And so yeah, I use that and that helped. That's why it already looks so flat, because I rolled it on that wax paper. So yeah, so now we're gonna epoxy it with the Counterculture DIY Artist Resin is the medium viscosity. When you're doing something like this, like with ombres and V-splits and vinyls, and you're gonna want to do multiple layers of vinyls and stuff like that, I highly suggest working in thinner layers. That is what I chose to do because I knew that I was gonna need to epoxy it once, if not twice, then put my stripes on, then epoxy it again, potentially put a name on it if the customer wanted a name or anything like that on it, or even if I just needed to do like a cleanup layer. So we're talking at least 3 to 4 coats of epoxy. So you don't want any one layer to be too thick. You're just trying to cover your glitter with this first layer. Again, maybe your second layer, which is what ended up happening for me, doing the second layer to still get a pretty good cover on that epoxy. But yeah, definitely don't want to work in thicker layers if you don't have to, or if you know how to not work in the thicker layers. And so people always ask me about sanding, and so I decided to keep this in the video. This is just me sanding. I'm using some sandpaper from the Dollar Tree. You get like 20 sheets in a little baggy thingy. I don't know what it's called. In a package. There we go. And some packaging for $1, and they have different grits. So I'm going in with a more coarse grit. And what you see what I'm doing, I'm just using my finger to get some feedback to see where there may be like little raised points or high points or peaks. And I'm just using my finger to feel for those. And then I'm going to just sand them down. And you're probably like, girl, what did happen to your nails? I had to take my state board practical test and we're not allowed to have nails. So I had to take my nails off. But you'll see by the video they're back because I only went 3 days without them because, girl, I'm not a student anymore. I have graduated. So, yeah, I just had to take them off for the test. But they are back and I'm feeling like myself, like that little baddie that I am. So, yeah, so here I am still sanding. And, again, just using that method where I'm using my finger for feedback, trying to figure out where I want to sand at more, where I want to sand at less. And, yeah. So are y'all ready for Halloween? I feel like for me, it's another Halloween in the house. I'm just between working from home for literally a year straight. And before that, for the first 6 months of the pandemic, I was only going into work a couple of days a week. If that, I'm still not ready to go outside. Like I already told my husband, I said, like, we go to restaurants now, like we'll eat outside, but I'm not ready to be for the winter time to come and be cooped up in a restaurant with y'all. So the period 6 family will be eating their meals at home. Again, do what's best for you, what's safest for you. But my Halloween, I already got, y'all, have y'all ever heard of the store Home Goods? When I tell you, I feel like it's changed my life and I just discovered it, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. Just what you saw me do, I just put another layer of epoxy on the cup. And now I'm just going in with these stripes. This is just regular Oracle 651 black vinyl. And I cut those stripes are 1/8 of an inch, I want to say. Very tiny. But yeah, I think in my mind I wanted to do them a little thicker, but I already have the template saved in my Silhouette Studio, and I do use a Silhouette machine to cut my vinyl. But yeah, and so I wanted to do like a fancy color. I'm like, black. It's Halloween, girl. Just use black. So, and I thought that ended up being the best one for this tumbler. So yeah, so y'all, I discovered Home Goods because people were on the internet talking about like the Ray Dunn. And like in my mind, I was going to go see if it was like a real thing, but I also live in Colorado where the women just aren't that fancy. Like the women here go out and don't wear heels, which is I'm not used to. Anyway, no shade to the girls here. It's honestly, it's refreshing because I feel safe going to the mall in sweatpants and no one judging me. Whereas I didn't always used to feel like that. But yeah, and so I ended up finding just other stuff that like pumpkins. Like I found a giant glitter pumpkin, like a glass one. It's beautiful. It's sitting on my dining room table. I found like a little cute little pumpkin candy jar. That's what I'm doing on Halloween, just eating candy on my couch. So yeah. So if you've never been to Home Goods, you should go. Cause it's amazing, awesome, and affordable. And so, yeah. And so now I'm just finishing up the stripes and using my X-Acto knife to cut them. Make sure your peaks is right at the bottom. I had accidentally not made my points at the same spot because I had cut I cut my line on the wrong side when I was cutting off the little end pieces. So just something to watch for. So yeah, so when all that's done, I did use a little bit of quick coat to hold down the ends where the meats. So I use a little quick coat, wait a couple hours, and then I go ahead and do the finer layer of epoxy, and this is what we got. So here she is. This is our Halloween V-split vinyl glitter ombre tumbler. She turned out beautiful. I am in love. She's amazing. She's festive. She's all the things. And honestly, I love this ombre just in general, just like as a general color set. I think it's really pretty. So tell me what you think below. Leave me any comments, questions below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're not already. We like to have lots of fun over here. Oh, announcement. Videos will be posting Mondays at noon from now on, so check for that. Also, sign up for our email list over on our website, period6glitter.com, and follow us on Instagram at period6designs. You can follow me on TikTok at period6glitter, and I will see you guys in the next one.